What is going on, everybody, and welcome to episode 12. I am your host, Marcus, and in this episode, we are talking about I don't have a problem. Now, a lot of times when someone approaches you and they're trying to help, your first natural instinct is, well, I don't have a problem. What do I need to fix? But yet you find that you are questioning, yet you find you are maybe not living the life you want. You may find yourself that a lot of different things that you are doing in life are monotonous, they're not enjoyable. Every single day just to get up out of bed is a grind. And this can be because of a multitude of different things. But being said, coming back to the question, ultimately asking yourself, do I really have a problem? Because when I ask you if you have a problem, you're typically going to tell me, no, you don't. Everybody likes to play the defense. If someone comes at you with that question, you almost go straight to the defensive side. It's because of the fact that a lot of us, we have particular issues that we're dealing with in our lives, but we don't want other people to have to tackle them for us. A lot of times we want to do that ourselves. But when it gets to be too much, at that point, we still don't reach out. We feel like it is our responsibility. And it gets to a point to where if you are so miserable and you are not trying to make change in your life, you need to reach out. It's a big reason why I started Discover Ignites, is to find those people that aren't asking themselves this question, but I do have a problem, admitting you have a problem. But what is the exact problem? Why are you not happy? Why are you miserable? Maybe it's the job, maybe it's the relationship, maybe it's your health. But there are a lot of different things that can come into play here. But ultimately, you have to know, you have to define what exactly that problem is. Now, we can easily just say, oh, well, that's fine. Just go to the doctor, take some meds, and, they'll put you in some kind of zombie state, and you can live your life the rest of that way. But what side effects do those medicines give you, right? I've always been a person that tries to tackle things naturally. I've seen what drugs and substances can do to your body, do to your mind, and how much it can restrain you from just being who you are. There's nothing wrong with who you are. You may have things in your life that you may have to fix. And so knowing that, you have to realize that there is no quick fix. But realize that you can change, right? If you have a normal mental state, right? If you don't have any actual brain damage or anything like that, because that is a question I do get quite often. If you don't have anything wrong with your brain and life is just tough, you can change it. It doesn't matter what environment you're in, because what really matters is the environment in your head. How is your mindset? Is your mindset just regurgitating what your environment is already giving you? Then that could be a problem. That would be a lot harder to get out of that. But it is not impossible if you can commit yourself and realize that the destination is making that internal environment a calming place for you. Then you can make change. Then you can eliminate whatever problems you have in life, because you become essentially the observer of those things around in your life. Those things around in your life don't have meaning unless you assign meaning to them. But if you're an observer, you can see it before it comes, before you assign a meaning to it, before you get emotional about it. This is why I hit on this so much, because the fact that if you are the observer, you can distance yourself from the feeling, from the thought, from all these other different things, and not allow it to cloud your judgment, But this takes time. It is not a quick fix. This is why breathing techniques and meditation and experiencing and getting in the state of flow, right? The help with all this stuff that I talk about helps get you in that state, that calming, the internal calming state, so you can deal with the problems. It's not to say that all these problems aren't going to completely 110% go away. They get diluted a lot, so much so that they don't bother you in your day-to-day life anymore. Some major problems take a lot of time, but you can eliminate them by auditing your day and going through your life, determining what is bad in your environment. And I can guarantee you, if you have a bad environment, you could probably pick out a couple of different things that are bad in your environment and remove them. This is the biggest key, is you have to take action and remove them. Life is short. You have to come at things with the fact that you have the expiration date. Sitting and planning for too long is not going to help. Sitting and worrying about the uncertainty is not going to help. You have to be comfortable with uncertainty. And that in itself is working on yourself, is doing things that typically you get afraid of, or something that is outside your realm, that perhaps you might even feel like you are, have this, you aren't the person that you are trying to portray. And so by doing this, so you essentially have imposter syndrome. You need to get over this and be comfortable with the fact that you are never going to know something essentially fresh out of the box. Anything new that you try, yes, you're going to fail. You haven't done it before. You might have done things that are similar to it that can help learn perhaps a little bit faster. But what you need to understand is that as long as you have the confidence to know that I am in a growth mindset, that whatever I do is only a matter of time before I can achieve it, you can make the change to fix the problem in your environment, right? And to be able to do that, again, you have to take the action. You have to have boundaries. Every relationship in your life, personal or professional, you should have boundaries set. This is something I've talked about establishing your frame. Your frame has boundaries. Your frame is something that you can control. Your frame is essentially your life. Your boundaries are what you will tolerate. The people, the events that happen in your life, what will you tolerate? If you have a bad relationship and that person cheats on you, are you going to allow that? You may say no now, but when it happens, is it still going to happen again? Because once it happens, there's a strong possibility it will happen again. But being said, when it happens, do you tolerate it or do you let it go? So being said, you have to establish your boundaries for your framework, your life, and where you're going in your life, where you want to go. And you may not know where you want to go in life. But to understand that, you have to realize that there may be already, again, problems that you're not addressing. that are easier just to sweep under the rug, easier to perhaps flick on a sports event or flick on a TV show and forget about your current situation, because it helps you escape. Why not live the life that you watch on TV? Well, Marcus, that's impossible, you may say. It is possible. Depends what it is. If you're trying to watch some rich and famous show, then yes, that will take time. That will take effort. If you're trying just to live a comfortable, nice life where you're happy and joyful, and maybe you just open up a little bakery shop or something like that, it's possible. You don't have to work that job that you don't enjoy. The thing is you have to find the problems, recognize that they are problems, because if you find that you are complaining about something specific, that is your problem. We all have things that we do complain about, and that is something that I constantly keep in check. If I find that I'm complaining about something, I try to find a way to correct it. It's just taking time. Not saying that you're just going to be able to do that, right? It just goes back to taking action, realizing it is a problem, and then taking action to correct it. Not worrying about consequences. I'm not saying go out and do something crazy, but what I'm saying is you should have those, essentially those boundaries defined. You should essentially know that whatever problems are they touching on those boundaries? How big of a problem is it? Right? Now, some things you can't just remove. I understand that. But that does not give you the permission to just allow events, people to run through your boundaries and essentially overtake your frame and not allow you to control your life the way you want to control it. Everybody should have control of their frame and their guidance to where they want to go in life. You don't have to be an entrepreneur. You can, have a little job, work 9 to 5 at a market, and go home, play video games all day, and you're happy. As long as you're happy with that situation and you're not complaining, then more power to you. I highly believe that, material things are not going to make you happy. It's actually something I want to start a series on, right? I want to start talking about the minimal lifestyle, because I found that this is where true happiness is everything is within you. If you can master your frame, your life, your happiness, everything came into this world with everything you need. We tend to forget that. We rely too much on the outside world to stimulate our life, as opposed to stimulating our own life from the inside. And realizing that starts with looking for those problems, being aware of those problems, being an observer of your thoughts and ideas, and it's kind of like seeing the side effects of what's going on in your life. Maybe you find that, I don't have any problems, but yet, you may get angry at your kids real easy or something because of the fact that you're not dealing with the problem, the real deep down problem, and you know what it is. But a lot of times we like to, again, escape, whether that's through TV, whether that's through some other source, right? Or something else. Maybe it's eating. Maybe you have an eating disorder because of that, right? Or something like that. There is a problem there, but we have to address the problem. And a lot of times, again, if that problem is big, you might have to chip away at it. Quit looking at the big problem. How can I chip away at this thing? What is something I can do each and every day to chip away and eventually get rid of the problem? That's the way you should tackle it. Because again, a lot of times we look at the bigger issue and we think it is too big to tackle. There's no way I can do it. But you can. Every big change, right? To move a mountain, you have to move stone by stone. You can't just push the whole mountain. You have to move stone by stone. Quit trying to take on the whole solution, but recognize that there is a problem. Because if you are not happy, if you are in a state where you are miserable and complaining, right? Nobody is going to fix that but you. You should be okay with that, though. You should drive yourself, right? Initially, it's hard to say because it is not easy initially. But as long as you're moving a stone a day, you will eventually get to where that mountain is moved from essentially one field to another. And then it doesn't seem like such a big effort. It may take time, depending on how big that mountain is, but it's possible. It's all possible. We like to put mental hurdles in our lives that stop us from executing on it. Or we start executing, we start moving a couple stones and realize that this is taking too long. It's okay. Just worry about the destination. Don't worry about the duration or the path. Just keep moving the stones. Eventually, it will get there. Just know eventually it will get there. Not all things, when talking about problems, a lot of times, I'm still this way. Like I've talked about, I still have issues that I try to work through, right? But a lot of my bigger problems, bigger hurdles I've dealt with, right? I know where my borders are. There's been times in my life where I have lost that. I've lost frame and I've regained frame multiple different times in my life. The thing is, you need to be able to audit that and realize when boundaries are being pressed, realize that when other things in your life are overtaking your frame, you have to realize when your boundaries are being pressed and when your frame is being overtaken, that's a problem. You shouldn't have to be stressed out. You shouldn't have to be these things. You can control it. And that's why I come on here. This is why I talk about these things. And a lot of times you may not want to hear it. You may say, well, my situation is different. Every situation, I don't think there was ever been a situation that you can't fix. There's always a way to fix it somehow, some way, or perhaps even dilute that problem enough to where it's not affecting other parts of your life. So again, you may not be able to completely remove it, but you can dilute it. Would you want to live a little less stressful in your life? Now, being said, you might have to take some big actions. That can be scary. That can deter you from going after the things that you want. But you have to understand that the things that you want, depending what they are, right? There are a lot of things that I've worked hard for, but it's worth it. It was worth it. I had to make sacrifices. I had to take steps back in my life, but that sacrifice is giving me even more than I could have even imagined. But I recognize that I would have to take a step back. I recognize that it was going to be initially painful because uncertainty and change is painful in not knowing. Uncertainty is being comfortable with the unknown. But know that in yourself, you have everything you need. Your mind and your body are powerful. Your mind is an extremely powerful tool. If you can control it, you can do great things. This is why I talk about how, your greatest investment is your mind. If you know the right tools to control your mind, to control your confidence, to control these different things in your life, you realize that by doing that and having that control, all the material things could be taken away and you'd be okay. Because you knew that you had that confidence yourself and the know-how to get where you wanted to go. Now, it does take time. And again, it starts with identifying those problems and being okay with that problem, realizing it is a problem. So don't get defensive, right? If you find like someone's asking you, well, what's the problem? The first defensive reaction will be, I have no problems. For some odd reason, we like to tell everybody we have no problems, when in fact we have problems. I have problems even to this day. I've worked through a lot of my problems, but there's still always problems, right? Life always changes. There's always going to be new problems that are essentially brought into your life. And it's dealing with them, right? You have some little problems, you have some big problems. But you have to establish that record. You have to establish that focal point to know that you are capable of correcting the problem, whatever size that comes in. But realizing that it is a problem, because if it's bleeding over into everything, you find yourself trying to escape, there is a problem there. It's easier to just flick on the TV or to take an adult beverage, right, and forget, as opposed to dealing with it and being comfortable with uncertainty. Because all good things in life that you want, right? When I talk about frame and all these different things in life that you want, you're going to have to fight for it. They don't just come easy. The things that come easy, nobody wants. Right? That's one thing to understand. Nobody wants to be lazy, right? Nobody wants to live in a shack, right? Nobody wants a bunch of other different things. But to not have those things, you have to take action. You have to do things to be able to correct it. Again, you can live a simple life, but a very happy life. Going into the living that minimal lifestyle and having less is more, right? And realizing that the little things that you have should provide you great value. You should come at all different things in life that way. Cherish your good relationships, right? If there's other relationships in there that are dragging and bringing you down, remove them. Whatever they are. Again, life is short. Address the problem, remove it. You have to be an executioner. You have to execute and remove. Don't worry about consequences. Why are you worried about consequences? Why are you worried about other people's opinions if you only have one life? You have one life. Why are you trying to please other people? There is a point where you need to be selfish. You need to establish that. Just being selfish doesn't mean that you have to go out and take things from people. You don't have to tear people's buildings down so your building can be the tallest building around. It's being selfish for yourself to make sure yourself is nourished, make sure your mind and your body are nourished, make sure that you are learning and educating yourself, and make sure that you are a strong individual. That's what being selfish is. Making sure you come first, your sleep, your eating habits, your health, all those different things, your education, and then you go out and you help. You should dedicate time every day for your mental state, right? And for your body. You should have things in place to help that out. Then everything else can come after that. If you have kids, the kids can come after. If you have a job, the job can come after. You have to be solid, because if there is no you, there is no nothing, right? So address the problems. Realize that it's okay to acknowledge that you have problems. Everybody has the problems. But don't procrastinate. Be an executioner and execute on what needs to be taken care of. And being okay with that. Again, you have one life. Are you going to live in a state where you're in misery? You wake up and perhaps you might have a couple hours before you feel like the rest of the day is just going to be garbage? Address the problem. Don't be afraid. I'm here to tell you, don't be afraid. You're okay. You'll be okay. It will get a little tough initially because your brain is wired in a specific way, but in time, new norms will be established and all will be well. But you have to realize that you are looking for that destination. That destination will eventually come. You know you'll get better at one point. You just have to give it time. You give it time, like anything, it'll work itself out. So focus on the day. What are you doing every day that can help you, right? Something you can work on for your mind, or something you can work on for your body. Every single day, find the problems, eliminate the problems. And then when you get past that point, you start living a happier life. Don't feel like a job is going to be the thing that is going to make you happy, or when I get married, or I have that house, or I buy that car, or I have the dog, or I have kids, or I have this, I have that, I have this, I have that. Before you even attempt to get any of that stuff, you need to address the problems. Maybe you've gone that far to where you have those things and now you feel like you have a lot of problems. Maybe you haven't gotten that far. You're single, you're by yourself. Address the problems you have now. If that takes doing some deep meditation work, do that. Figure it out. Address them. Something in your past, fix it however you can. If you need professional help, go get professional help. If you don't know where you want to go in life, maybe that's your problem. Go seek more perspective. Go try and immerse yourself in new experiences. This will help. This will get you to a point to where, problems are a thing of the past, and any new problems that come into your life, you know how to handle them and how to address them. This starts building more confidence. The more and more you do this, you build that comfort zone of dealing with the problems that come in your life. Because when you have no fear about the problems, yes, there's always some fear, but you can come at it. You can charge the fear and realize that you've overcome it before. So address the problems. Be okay with uncertainty. If you're not okay, if you don't have a solid relationship with uncertainty, life won't get better. You can wish, hope, and dream, but it is in the action and being comfortable with uncertainty that gets you to where you want to go. If you don't, your steering wheel is essentially busted and your boat's just going to spin around and around in circles. You'll have absolutely no control over it. And you'll just drift, hoping, wishing. In my mind, I would rather take the action, find something in the boat to create a wheel to steer my ship. Be adjustable, be fluid. Don't be set in a specific way. Look for new perspectives. How can you get out of where you're at? Again, this could be limitations on your knowledge. But being said, you can make change. Address the problems. Realize that there are problems. Stop looking for quick fixes. You have the quick fix. It's going to help for a couple minutes, or maybe it's even video games, maybe a couple hours. But when you realize when you're not doing it, the problem starts coming back to the surface, and you realize how much you don't like your current situation. So again, to correct that, address it, take the action. Don't think. You add thought to the equation. Some things you have to plan out, but ultimately don't procrastinate on taking the action. Just execute. You know what needs to be done, do it. Rip the Band-Aid off. Deal with the problem. Stop looking for something external to fix it. You have to be courageous enough to go inside and fix it. Remember, stone by stone, you will move that mountain.